Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Harry Potter and the Crystalline Forms. Because we're gonna go find Hermione.
Hermione.
Yep. I know it's probably from some mythos, or something. But
I mean, they literally could not have made a reference to Harry Potter at this point in
yes,
time.
I know. Hermione is a name from some sort of mythos. I forget what. But this is another one of those hot drop missions because, as you can see, there are two enemies right there, and they are ready to go, coming right at me. So you have to really quickly group your weapons and try to dodge some PPC blasts, which I didn't do a good job of this time around. But
Dang,
in my defense,
they really make it hard to see anything. Does the
you see what I mean? They don't pop in until I think it's like about 200 meters. I might have been exaggerating earlier, but it is. This is, and everything looks so samey in this, and the lighting's really dim.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can barely tell where the land ends and where the sky starts.
Yes. And this is a mission where they're just like walk from one nav point to the other while looking for something. In this scenario, in this area, and you can see I can't see him. And my missiles just exploded against nothing, so I don't know if I'm shooting him now or what's going on, but...
Is there a mountain between us? Because I can see.
Nope. There wasn't. That's what's crazy. But it's not a big deal. So
walk through from one nav point to the next while looking for a thing.
Yes, in this situation. So this is, I think... this is just my second attempt because the first time I actually ran out of time. You have 30 minutes to do this, and I ran out of time.
30 minutes.
Yep. Because I was just walking from one nav point to the next and looking around near the nav points. They don't tell you really what to do. They just say, follow your nav sequence and look for this thing.
What is even the thing?
It's Hermione. Looking for Hermione.
Probably
Ron's
at the library.
Really worried. Ron's been really worried, she's been missing for a while.
And she's like, stop it, Ron.
Stop. Leviosa. But yeah, it's real nice because in a lot of these late missions you get to play as the Timberwolf or, heavier mechs. And I believe if you increase the difficulty, they limit your weight class more. But I don't really like that idea.
Fun with that?
Because a big part of the fun is trying a lot of different mechs, If I wanted to play every single mech, every single mission with a Nova, I could. But it'd be harder in some cases. Especially like this, where you cannot see what you're shooting at, even when you're in medium laser range.
Yeah,
but,
it's... I've never been a fan of increasing difficulty by making the game more boring.
Yeah, don't increase difficulty by limiting options, please.
It's just like, I mean, doing a run in Mega Man with just a blaster, yeah, that's impressive, but boring.
Oh, he blew my arm off. But don't worry, I'm super awesome. And I'm totally doing the right thing by trying to chew through all of the armor on this direwolf with 3 medium lasers and running my face into him. This is only a pro.
I mean, almost. Can almost shoot you.
Haha.
They're less eager to shoot you when you're right next to them for some reason.
Sometimes it's because they literally can't, because of where their weapons are mounted.
They just walk, like the barrel of the gun goes through you.
No, basically they're holding, like this one, he's holding his 2 weapons out on the side, and if you're in between that, he can't angle them closer to hit you.
There's somebody trying to shoot you very bad.
It's the other mech still. But don't worry, this is all just for dramatic effect, because in a Harry Potter novel you've got to have that part where it looks like the bad guys are going to win and you're down on your luck, but you triumph.
And then you have to violently pull out your eyes and throw them into the woods.
Exactly. So anyway, that was all the mechs that we have to destroy. You know, good bit of challenge. And here's a satellite link view because you can actually see 500 meters is the range on the satellite view.
Oh,
which
there's
is
a thing.
That's not it though. I thought that was it too. That's just a bunch of crystals. You can kind of tell from this too, because the crystals are actually clear what they. It's clear that they actually have like. Okay, I guess that's not. You can't tell from this because.
No, not really.
Everything is just a bunch of lumpy polygons. Everything just looks like a bunch of giant crystals.
Yeah, I mean, just.
But I just want to point out
polygonal graphics look like. They look.
That is the nav point, which is now about 300 meters north of me. That is the last nav point, and it is also at least one of the southernmost nav points. And the place that you're actually going towards, I don't know if you can see it yet. Do you see those tracks?
Sort of.
These things, you can kind of see them, sort of. It's like
basically almost not at all.
But you're 500 meters from your last nav point, and that's when you're able to see it. So you're supposed to just do a 500-meter sweep of every nav point. Like what? Anyway, here's Hermione. She's looking a little worse for wear. You know, she dove her head down into the sand, and the idea is that you're supposed to get the information out and then blow it up because it's got info on board.
So just walk up to it, kiss it, analyze it, and blow it up.
Yeah, and it says like 20 seconds or something like that, and I'm like, oh, it'll show me when it's getting damaged enough that so I won't blow it up accidentally before. So I'm like trying not to shoot it too much, but at the same token, shoot it enough so I don't have to wait. And I literally did it the second after the data transfer finished, which is all because I'm really good at this game and not at all luck. But anyway, as we're autopiloting back, I was going to explain that thing that I was talking about earlier with the heat. So the heat's on a different clock than everything else. If you pause while your engine is running, your heat will continue to tick up, even though you're paused and nothing else in the game is going. And if we have one of those moments where things slow down and then speed up, the heat won't necessarily also slow down and speed up. Or rather, it doesn't slow down and speed up the same way, so sometimes...
So it's not tied to the frame rate, it's tied to actual time.
I believe so. Or some complicated combination of things, because when it slows down and speeds up, while it's going slow, it seems like the heat goes normally, but then when it speeds up, even if you're, even though you don't cool off at a sped up rate. So it'll speed up and you'll fire a bunch of lasers and you'll overheat and die. Because
that makes sense. Because like it adds up to it faster.
Yes, I guess the heat sinking effect.
I do actually appreciate that your little monitor, when it's glitching, it's showing everything in RGB.
Yeah, and
nice attention to detail.
And I didn't show it off this time, but if you get damaged enough when you look at your satellite link, it'll get blurry and then focus back in, and then get blurry and focus back in. I think I showed it in a later episode, but there's a lot of little neat touches like that make me wonder why they. I guess they had good attention to detail, but there were some big problems. Also, doesn't that look evil? The wolves are evil.
That looks like the enemy dropship with the red
glowing
exhaust.
red, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Clan Wolf, even though they have the much more fun missions and they win. But they aren't my clan.
Yay, mission successful.
Hooray! And it didn't take 30 minutes this time.
Only 9.
And then we get to do another trial. So,
you have failed. That was quick.
I did fail. Yep. I just sometimes
you didn't even try. You didn't even go up to the test. Just gave up without even going there.
But I think this was another time where I looked at my phone and I didn't get started soon enough. But anyway, this one is actually a little bit tricky because okay, so you're in a summoner, so you have jump jets, and you've got one long-range missile salvo, but it's only a 10, so it's not like the last one where you could really blow things up before they got to you. This one, you're more trying to.
You're like
it's
throwing
difficult.
a bunch of darts.
Yeah, it really is. It's difficult because you got to angle it high enough. You got to keep locked on, but you got to angle it high enough that you won't. That you won't hit the mountain. But in this case, I failed. But it doesn't really matter because I'm just gonna use my short-range weapons, including my machine gun, which is gonna factor in prominently to the limo times. Let me tell you. Also, what's really annoying is
that thing.
It was the enemy mechs and then the engagement spheres, which are targetable. Which is a little bit annoying because I was trying to target the other mech, so I knew where he was, and I could. Yeah, take care of that one without being annoyed, but I had to cycle through every other target first. Leave a comment below if you know. I think it's a there's a button for it actually. There's a button to do it better, but I forget what it is. So
Cycling
sometimes
through the targets.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to cycle through targets. But anyway, yeah. So you use your jump jets to jump over his head after you leg him. Pretty standard tactics. I always freak out whenever I get to this point because you have 15 seconds to shoot the engagement sphere, and if you don't, you have to redo the whole mission over again.
But you have
and
to
I'm always
angle
like,
yourself correctly because
because I was directly beneath it.
If you're directly below, you have to get away from it.
Yep. So I had a little freak out there every time. And there you can see I lost the tracking. I was trying to angle it up enough so I could get over it, but I angled too far away.
Mm-hmm.
I also found out some weird, I think, glitches in that I hadn't noticed before to this game, like the machine gun.
There we go.
Yeah. You know, I think my favorite. I don't know why. I like this a lot better than standard shooting games, but it is just a shooting game with like a simulator put on top of it.
Yeah, like an additional layer of difficulty to the thing, to the shooting mechanics.
Maybe that's because it has a little bit. It has a lot more customization, and it also has you know, giant robots, which I like. And yeah, it really annoys me that you can't customize your layouts, because if I could have customized my layout, I would have just put in more heat sinks and less lasers. And this is a very difficult situation. I didn't realize that I had legged the other one, but I've legged both of them, but it's hard to find a place where neither of them can shoot me.
Yeah.
So I have to carefully...
You legged them in such a way that they... well, if you stand right between them, they would not
I'm
be
sliding
able to
down the hill right now. But
Physics.
it's okay, because you can't quite do it. Also, anytime you turn, your mech takes a step to turn, like, unless you just turn your torso, which is what I should have been doing. But
and you could actually see the damage appear on the torso.
That happens always. We just haven't been in good enough lighting situations to really tell before. But now, since we're just sitting up close and there's nothing else to look at, it's a lot more obvious. But it's another nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
If only they'd put the draw distance at a better range. So
I mean, it's from like 90 whatever.
But they obviously could do it, because the draw distance in mission is super far. And there's mountains, and there's buildings, and there's walls, and all sorts of stuff. So they obviously could do it. And they just decided that this is a dusty place. You can't see very well. You got really low visibility. But they forgot to make it so that the enemies don't, shoot at you, I guess.
The enemies are not affected by the draw distance, is what you're saying.
I have not noticed the enemy AI being affected by the draw distance.